Tonali, that is what a signing that is.
Fucking statement, like, isn't it? Straight out the blocks from
Huge
nowhere.
statement. Rumoured 70 million euros. Which I think loosely converted is about £60 million or £65 million, something like that.
I'm sure Luke Edwards did come out today and say that it's actually less than 55. It's less than like what's been reported at the moment. Like he said, like I think he's on holiday or some shite, but he said like don't trust like everything that everyone's saying about it being like 70 million euros or something. He said it's like it is gonna be a lot less. Like this, well, the fee up front especially. There'll obviously be add-ons for when we win the Champions League and that, but
yeah, I think that's what it'll be. It's probably more like 50 and then add-ons, and it'll be structured as well over a number of seasons to help with FFP. But yeah, I mean, who wants to talk about this guy, because he's incredible, isn't he? Looking at his stats and stuff.
Well, yeah, that the stats alone, but just obviously how important he's been for both national team and for AC in the last few years. He's commanded that midfield. He obviously won a league title with AC, not this season but the season before, and perfect sort of defensive midfielder that we've been calling out for. We know that it's an area that we're desperate for, to unlock Bruno a little bit more, and also just to keep the numbers in that area of the field, because we're going to carry on playing that free in the midfield. We need those players in there, so it was a high priority to get somebody in, but to get somebody of the quality and the even just still the future prospects in him. Like, he's still young enough that he can improve, and under Eddie, the sky's the limit. So yeah, it's interesting reading stuff about how he's been reported to have broken down in tears, like that he's not quite. I don't know how much to read into that, and if whether or not, I just don't want it to be a Mikel Merino kind of situation where the player comes in but is instantly not feeling right because they're feeling homesick and all that kind of stuff. Like, that would be my only slight worry. But again, I don't know how much to believe on those reports that he's been in tears over being forced out by AC. Is what the reports were saying. So yeah, I don't know how much of that you can read into.
The Toon's obviously well described as the Milan of England, so I'm sure he'll be alright. He's a set piece taker as well, isn't he? So that's going to be another positive for next season, so that Trippier doesn't have to take every single set piece.
Yeah, it means that when Trippier's not on the pitch, that would like, obviously he's not relied on half as much, because we've got another set piece taker who takes corners and all the deep free kicks. I think you've seen he got an assist the other day for the under 21s by one of them balls. It was deep inside his own half. He basically cut it perfectly into the box for a header. So he comes with like abundance of talent. Like, I seen Mancini, the Italy boss, spoke the other day. He said like basically it's sad for him to go, because I think obviously he wants the best Italian players to be playing in Italy. But he was like, he thinks that he will like be suited to the Premier League, and at the age of like 23, over 200 senior appearances, it's just like, it's class to get a player of his like caliber in like early. Like, I think like from what I've seen of him, he's sort of the similar kind of sort of player as Longstaff, but just technically he's significantly better. So I think that's the kind of mould he'll play. Like, obviously Barella we were linked with, he's a bit more of like an advanced player, but it just seems like it's just the perfect upgrade. Like, he's young, he's driven, he's played in the Champions League semis last year. He won the league with AC the year before. Like, he's the real deal, and honestly I can't wait to see him in black and white.
Do you
and he's got
reckon
lovely hair as well.
Class hair.
could be the best hair in the team for sure. No, I don't know if to believe much of, like, we were linked with Barella, or it seemed in the media that Barella was our number one target initially, and then we got priced out of Barella quite quickly into or after north of like 70 million euros, like between 70-80 million euros, which we just weren't willing to pay. But then I don't know if we then, like, Tonali was a second choice in that respect, or if it was just that the media have just kind of diverted us one way, thinking Barella, and then Tonali's always been the one that we've been after. I don't know what to make of that.
We could have been after both, because obviously they're not strictly the same position. Like Alex was saying, Barella's a bit more of an attacking player. Although I do think Tonali, like you say, he's not like a strict CDM, so he will probably come in and replace Longstaff.
Hasn't been playing strictly CDM himself, so it's that fluid kind of like do it all.
And he covers a lot of ground, so I imagine we'll see Bruno be unleashed going forward a bit more, because he can do that role a bit better if he has to sit. But I think he'll be going forward as well, so you will still see Bruno sitting in the six sometimes. But I think that'll be good. And the question is, if we've got both of them, do we stick with the same formation and you play either Willock or Joe Linton or Sean as well, or do we change formation a bit to get the best players on the pitch?
Personally, I think that we'll carry on with Joe Willock and Joe Linton on the left hand side. I think that's the perfect sort of 4-3-3, carry on where we are. Bruno, Tonali, Joe Linton / Willock on the left, because they work so well together. I don't see, like, obviously there's been rumours about Maxi going and stuff like that, going to Italy. If like anyone's going to get some fees into the club so and buy another player, it's going to be Maxi. But yeah, I think that's the way Eddie Howe will go. I think we'll go with that rotation on the left. And unfortunate for Sean Longstaff, because he's had the best season of his career by far, and then we've basically, as we said like on previous podcasts, that's who we're looking to replace really. So it's just it's a shame, but it was always going to happen with such a sort of steep rise for Newcastle really, and making the Champions League. Just got to get better players in. So
yeah, and there's also the squad depth as well, which obviously we're coming up to talking about players we'll take from the relegated teams, and we do need a mix of first team starters who are quality enough for the Champions League, like Tonali. But then we're also going to need squad depth for rotation. There's like how impactful the subs were last season, FA Cup, League Cup. So I was thinking, like, when you were saying that, a player sort of like Dan Burn, who was instrumental last season as well, like we relied on him so much playing at left back, but then we're linked heavily with left backs. But he's still going to get so many games because he obviously can play centre back, and he'll be in there when Botman needs a rest and for injuries and stuff, but also a left back. So I think players like him and Sean, who we obviously love being from the region and stuff, and they've made such an impact last season, they should still get plenty of minutes next season. I mean, fingers crossed it's not through injuries, but
that's the thing, you know, that like someone like Longstaff can come in after a Champions League game and do a job. If like we have had like a hard game and some tired legs, you know he can come in and do a job now. So you wouldn't see him on like a Sunday after a Champions League midweek game and think, oh fuck's sake, like it's a bit of a downgrade from Tonali. You'd be like, yep, we know he can do a job. We can trust him to do a job, and fair play. Like he's definitely got, as you said, he's definitely got a big role to play still.
And let's be honest as well, like the added quality coming in can only help Longstaff in terms of and others to like raise their game and learn a bit as well from players coming from another foreign league and bringing their style of play into the team as well. Like I can definitely see that Bruno and like Joe Linton and others, like since they've been in the squad, they've obviously passed on like some of their like skills and knowledge and stuff to some of the players around them. Like we were saying there about when Longstaff's had to fill in at times for Bruno when he's either been injured or suspended, and he's filled in admirably. And like, yeah, I think again, yeah, he's picking up new stuff all the time. Even at the age he is, he's still young enough to pick up new elements of his game. So Tonali coming in, you know, just adds that extra competition and can only do, I think, better things for the squad. Wanna hear you go.